Good afternoon, grade 8, or should I say good day, grade 8. Welcome to our revision class. I trust that you have been prepared for your exams. For our session this afternoon, we are going to be looking at going back to our handout. So we are going to be going through our handout. I won't be doing everything because you have the handouts already, but it's just basically to refresh your memory on some of the what I consider to be the important concepts or contents in the handout that you will need as you prepare for your exams. If you have your handouts, I'm going to ask you to take out your handouts, and while you watch this presentation, you go through with your handouts to ensure that you understand. We are going to be focusing on what I consider to be some of the key points on your handout. So some of the frills we won't be bothering with, like the first paragraph. So we're just going to get straight into it. For example, what is a hazard? But one of the challenge that many of our children or students have is that they mix up the two concepts. They mix up hazards and they mix up disasters. So it is important to make the distinction when you are preparing for your end of term exam. So a hazard is an event or an occurrence, right, which has the potential to cause harm or the potential to cause destruction or injury to people, livestock, property, the environment. Okay, so the key word here is, see this word right here? There's my question. This word right here, potential. That word right there. It has the potential to cause. It has not yet happened. It can happen. The likelihood is there for it to happen, but it has not yet happened. So it can cause harm. So it is a hazard. All right. Now hazards are divided into natural hazards and created hazards. Natural hazards are those natural events like rain, like drought, like earthquake, like storms, um, things that happen in nature that causes destruction, that causes hurt, that causes harm. So natural hazards are the natural occurrences which have the potential. The word comes back again. Where's my mouse? Right, it's in my cursor right there. It has the potential. It has not yet happened, but the likelihood is there for it to happen. So it has the potential to cause harm, death, destruction to life and property. All right, and I give you some examples there. Touch on some of those, like hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, droughts, landslides, anything that happens in nature. All right, you have heavy wind. So you're at home one day and there's a very heavy gush of wind or a freak storm that comes around and tears down some trees and damages some buildings, right? Um, that's not hazard, that's disaster. But the potential is there for it to happen. It has not yet happened, all right? But the potential is there, the likelihood is there that it will happen. All of those is a hazard. So we call those natural hazards. They are what people say they are the potential acts of nature. All right. The other type of hazard is what we call created hazard. Now these are the things that you they're looking at me, you and I do that can cause harm or destruction, right, or injury to the environment or to people or to animals or to properties. All right. So these events have not yet occurred. We are doing things, we are the ones who are doing things that that may cause these things to happen. Remember, they don't happen yet, but they may, M-A-Y, potential, may happen, right? So the things that we are currently doing that will cause air pollution, the things that we are currently doing that will cause water pollution, The garbage that we are throwing about the place when rain falls, runs down into the gullies and blocks up the gully that causes flooding. We are causing that. All right. So we call it land pollution. All right. Um, when you're at home, you use the machete and you leave the machete idly about. Right. It can cut somebody. That's a created hazard. The potential is there because you lay down carelessly. You lean a ladder against the building, all right, and somebody can walk underneath it and bounce the ladder, and the ladder slips. We don't put away the ladder properly. That's also a potential hazard, right? It is caused by us, so it is created by us. The hazard is being created by us. So remember now that hazards is a general term that we give to any occurrence, any possible occurrence that may happen that can cause harm or hurt or whatever. And that hazard is divided into natural hazards, the things of nature that can cause, it don't happen yet, and created hazards, the things that we do that can cause, it don't happen yet, harm and destruction and hurt people. All right? So that's hazard. The other term that is important for us to understand, don't mix it up now, is disaster. Disasters are the things that actually happen. So the hurricane that actually happened, the ladder that drops, that hit Mr. Good in my head, whoa, me head, right? That you left. That's a disaster. So disasters are the occurrence of any hazard which actually cause harm, death, or destruction to life or property. The garbage that you throw in the gully that washes down into the drain, that blocks the drain, that causes animals to die or destruction, that's disaster. All right. So the potential is always there, but it is not a hazard. It remains a hazard. But when that potential actually, when that hazard, that potential actually is manifested to cause something to happen, then that becomes a disaster. So based on the notation in front of you there, the potential is always there for a hurricane that impacts Jamaica or for a hazard to happen. If it doesn't happen, then all that we have there is a potential hazard. That's all that we have. However, if the hurricane strikes, or if rain falls and flooding takes place, or if the ladder falls on Mr. Gooden's head, or if you leave the machine idly alone and somebody slips and falls and it cuts the person, then all those potential now become disaster. Are we together? Because it is causing destruction, it is causing harm, it is causing death to livestock and property, it is causing bad things to happen to the environment. Now, like hazards, disasters are divided into two categories. They are natural disasters and they are created disasters. So let's look at both of them, each of them. The natural disasters are those things in nature that actually take place that causes harm, destruction, or hurt, or death. All right. So when the earthquake happens, Jamaica is located in an earthquake-prone environment, geographical area. Earthquake doesn't happen, but the potential is always there for it to happen. When it actually happens, it becomes a disaster. When it actually happens and it causes damage, like the last one that happened and it causes damage to some place, then that's a disaster. If somebody gets hurt, then that's a disaster caused by the earthquake. So the earthquake now becomes a disaster. All right. The same thing happens for the hurricanes. The same thing happens for the drought, where we don't have rain for a long period of time, and plants dry up and die. The crops that we plant or animals die. That's a disaster. All right. So in front of you, there are some examples of some disasters that have affected the Caribbean region and Jamaica over the years: droughts, floods, landslides, earthquakes, hurricanes. Well, volcanic eruptions don't impact Jamaica. Volcanic eruption impact the Lesser Antilles. So it is important now for you to remember that droughts, floods, earthquakes, and hurricanes are disasters that affect the entire Caribbean. Landslides are disasters that affect the hilly areas, the hilly countries of the Caribbean, like Jamaica, Hispaniola. It won't impact Bahamas or Turks and Caicos Islands because those places are flat. They don't have any hills, they don't have any mountains, so you don't have landslides taking place there. All right. But they are subjected to flooding. The entire Caribbean is subjected to flooding. The entire Caribbean is subjected to drought. The entire Caribbean is subjected to earthquake. The entire Caribbean is subjected to hurricanes. All right. Volcanic eruptions only impact the Lesser Antilles. So countries like Montserrat, countries like Saint Lucia, countries like Dominica, these are islands that are volcanic islands, so it will impact them when an eruption takes place. It won't affect us because we don't have any active volcanoes here. It won't affect on the Bahamas, they don't have any volcanoes. All right, so you need to bear that in mind. Where these disasters, the islands that these respective disasters impact. All right. Then we have, let me go up. Then we have created oh, I'm going the wrong direction. Then we have created disasters. So we have natural disasters. Then we have, oh, I'm going the wrong direction. Then we have created disasters. All right. Now create, oh, and I was looking at the different examples here, like the flooding. So we have the flooding. Oh, let me get there. I see what happened. So we have like the droughts, and we have like the floods, and we have like the hurricanes, um, and we have like the earthquakes and all those things. Then we have the created disaster. The created disasters are those things that we cause. All right. So when we do the things that will cause harm to individual, like the example I cited with you for the ladder, or the example I cited with you for the what was that now? You have the ladder for the machete. All right. The things that we do, other examples of created disasters are like toxic waste, right? Or the use of fertilizers, right? What in other words, whatever we do that causes harm. If Mr. Good take his phone or take a duster, right, and throw it and hit somebody, I have created a disaster because the person is hurt. Are we together? Good. That's good. So I want you to bear these two concepts in mind and don't mix them up. It is important that you not mix them up. All right. I trust this little exercise was able to help you. If you do not understand, you can go over the activity, over the exercise, and then make sure that when you see the exam, you do not make the mistake to mix them up. All right. Have a great day. We're going to prepare for another one, but have a great day, and I wish you well in your exams.